বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাস করুণা করি। ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাস করুণা করি। দিয়া পদ ছায়া সদ হে আমায় তোমার চরণ ধরি। দিয়া ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে দাস করুণা করি। ছায়া বেগদমে ছায়া দশ সধি ছায়া গুণ দেহ দাসে। ছায়া সৎসঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে। ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে দাস করুণা করি। একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বাল হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে। তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধানে। কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পার তোমার শক্তি আছে। আমি তো कंगाल, আমি তো कंगाल কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তব পাছে পাছে। ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাস করুণা করি। Next page, please. This song is over. Thank you. विभावरी शेष आलोक प्रवेश निद्रा छरे ओठ जेबा विभावरी बोलो हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारे राम कृष्ण हयग्रीवा नृसिंह वामन श्रीमधुसूदन ब्रजेन्द्र नंदन श्यामा पूतन घातन कैतव सतन जय दशरथ रामा यशोदा दुलाला गोविंद गोपाल वृंदावना पुरंदरा गोपी प्रिया जन राधिका रमन भुवन सुंदर बारा रावणंतकर माखन तस्कर गोपी जना वस्त्र हारे ब्रज राखल गोप वृंदापल चित्त हरि बंशीधारे योगींद्र वंदन श्री नंदनंदन ब्रज जना भयहारी नवीना निरद रूपा मनोहर मोहन वंशीधा बिहार नवीना निरद रूपा मनोहर मोहन वंशी बिहारी यशोदनंदन कंस निषूदन निकुंज रास विलासी rasa parayana Vrinda Bipina Nivasi. Ananda Vardhana Prema Niketana Phula Shara Jajutkama. Gopangana Gana Chitra Binodana Samasta Guna Gana Dhama. Yamuna Jibana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora. Nama Sudharasa Gao Krishna Jasa Rakho Bachana Mana Mora. Hari Rakho Bachana Mana Mora. Vibhavarish Alok Pradesh Nitya Chari Utha Deva. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. We'll sing one more song. Ujjvala Varana Gaura Varadeham. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ujjvala Sorry, can anybody remember? Ujjvala Varana Gaura Varadeham. Vilasita Nirabadi Bhava Videha कुशलवरण गौरवरदेहं विलसितनिरवधि भावविदेहम् त्रिभुवन पावन कृपायालेशं तं प्रणमामि च श्री सच्चिदानन्दम् गदगद अन्तर्भावविकारम् दुर्जन तर्जन नाद विलास नाद भव भय भंजन कारण करुणा तं प्रणमामि च श्री सच्चिदानन्दम् अरुणाम्बरधर चारु कपोलम् इन्दुविनिन्दित नखचय रुचिरम् जल्पित निज गुण नाम विनोदम् तं प्रणमामि च श्री सच्चिदानन्दम् विगलित नयन कमल जलधारम् भूषण नवरस भाव विकारम् गति अति मंथर नृत्य विलासम् तं प्रणमामि च श्री सच्चिदानन्दम् चंचल चारु चरण गति रुचिरम् मंजर रंजित पद सुख मधुरम् चंद्र विनिंदित शीतल बदना तं प्रणमामि च श्री सच्चिदानन्दम् धृतकोटिधर कमण्डल दण्डम् दिव्य कलेवर मुंडित मुंडम् दुर्जन कल्मष खंडन दण्डम् तं प्रणमामि च श्री सच्चिदानन्दम् भूषण भूरज अलकबलितम् कंपित बिंबाधर रुचिरम् Naya Malaya Jabirachita Uchala Tilakam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Chaitanyanam Ninditaruna Kamala Dalanayanam Ajanulambita Shri Bhujayogalam Kalibara Kaishara Nartaka Vesha Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Chaitanyanam Ujjala Bharanam Gaura Bharadeham Vilasita Nirabadi Bhava Videham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Chaitanyanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Chaitanyanam Jaya Gauranitai 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Shri Radhe Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jai Gurudev Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Shaman Mahaprabhu Shri Shri Lakshmi Narsinga Dev Subha Darshan Arati ki Hari Naam Sankirtan ki Nitai Gaura Premanande
That's okay. Roji, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you. Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. And with pranam to all of you. And this is a topic that I'm absolutely unqualified to speak on. And all of you are far more elevated, I'm sure. And I seek blessings of all the Paramahamsa devotees here. Ramananda Sankar Prabhuji, Shyam Narpo Prabhuji, Malimardhan Prabhuji, all the senior devotees. And you should be, of course, speaking, and I should be listening. So if you want, you still have time. So if you want to come and speak, I mean it. So, but I still seek the blessings so that I can do this service that's pleasing to all of you and to Krishna. So this today's topic we'll be discussing is on the mysteries of the holy names, and it's an introduction because the holy name is non-material, and it is not possible to understand the true glory of the holy name with the material senses. And also, even with the spiritual senses, Krishna is still unlimited. So it's difficult to understand Krishna, and it's not possible to understand Krishna completely. And that he himself doesn't, it's not possible for him himself to understand his ever-expanding glories. So he appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, because the various acharyas have, and the various scriptures are also non-different from the internal potency of the Lord. So their explanations is something that I try to put together for the pleasure of the devotees and our deities. So before we start, first we'll do the prayers, and after that we'll sing Kevalashtakam, and then we will start the presentation. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Rita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanyanamne Gaurattashe Namah. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanahitaya Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namah. So we will sing Kevalashtakam now. Mataji, can you please project it on the projector? Thank you, Mataji. So this is Kevalashtakam. The author is Nilakanta Goswami. I don't know much about him, but the composition is amazingly absorbing, and this sets the tone to discuss about the holy name. It's simple Sanskrit. Many of them are quite easy to understand if you have some idea of the language. Otherwise, we will read maybe we can read the meaning first, Mataji, and after that we will start the recitation. So the translation, I think one can read maybe. First one I will read. Of sweet things, it's the sweetest you will taste at any time. Of things that bring good fortune, it's the good fortune's paradigm. Of things that purify, it purifies most powerfully. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
From Brahma's realm, atop the sky down to the lowly grass, illusion reigns in Maya Devi's treacherous morass. The truth, the only truth, the name of Sri Hari, the holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
He is the Guru, he is the Father, he is the friend most true, and she is the real mother who most kindly teaches you to always chant and hear the holy name of Sri Hari. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
Remember that our final breath may come at any time, no matter if we are old and sick or in our youthful prime. So young and old alike should chant the name incessantly. The only name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
Go on. Mataji, next. Yeah.
Lord Sri Hari forever dwells wherever devotees, whose hearts are fixed on him and free of all impurities, uplifts their voices high and sing his name in ecstasy. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
Alas, what sorrow, what great pain, the worst calamity, for people to forget the holy name of Sri Hari. Although the name's a priceless gem, mere broken glass they see, the holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
Just fill your ears. Just fill them with the name of Sri Hari. Just chant the name. Just chant the name with all sincerity. Just sing the name. Just sing the holy name eternally. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
It makes this world appear like bits of straw upon the ground. It splendorously reigns supreme divinity in sound. It's filled with transcendental bliss and peerless purity. The holy name of Sri Hari is surely all that be.
Jai. Thank you very much.
Inspired to glorify the holy name of Sri Hari, a certain sage composed his thought in Sanskrit poetry. I pray that those who read this lowly version made by me will chant the holy name of Sri Hari in ecstasy.
Thank you very much. Even the translation is very poetic. Now that we know what we'll be chanting, we can chant with all of our heart. Madhuram madhurebhyopi mangalebhyopi mangalam pavanam pavanebhyopi harir namaiva kevalam madhuram madhurebhyopi mangalebhyopi mangalam pavanam pavanebhyopi harir namaiva kevalam Brahmastambha paryantam sarvam mayamayam jagat satyam satyam punah satyam harir namaiva kevalam Samata bandhavo sa shikshaya chitsa tasmartam harir namaiva kevalam Nishvasasena hi vishvaso kadarudho bhavishyati kirtaniyamato bhagyat harir namaiva kevalam Yatra bhagavata jana gayanti bhakti bhavena harir namaiva kevalam साचारथं विस्मृतं रत्न हरेर्नामैव केवलम् दीयतां दीयतां कर्णो नीयतां नीयतां वाच दीयतां दीयतां नित्यं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् प्रणीकृत्य जगत्सर्वं राजते सकलोपरि चिदानन्दमयं शुद्धं हरेर्नामैव केवलम् हरेर्नामैव केवलम् हरेर्नामैव केवलम् हरेर्नामैव केवलम् श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय। श्री श्री केवलाष्टकम की जय। Thank you very much. Now we will go to the presentation. Mataji, if you can please project the slides. Yeah, thank you. जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So for today's topic, I was actually thinking what topic to pick when I was given the opportunity to speak, and then I took a few days and I thought that maybe this is a topic that will interest devotees, and it's for my own purification, because when I took this topic, obviously now also I don't know anything, but there that time it was very much more obvious. So I had to go through different literatures and compile them to get today's presentation. So that exercise helped me to absorb more, and hopefully the same continues now. And this is to seek your blessings. So first we will discuss, this font is too small, but I hope you can reasonably see. So why the holy names? Why the holy names are important? And then we will look at the holy names through the eyes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of Shikshashtakam. So we will look at 4 or 5 verses, depending on how much time we have. And this is in line with what Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions in his Bhajan Rahasya. And so he mentions about the first 4 verses in a separate light, and then he says that the next ones are more for developing the Siddha Deha. So this is especially for Nishtha Bhakti, the first 4 verses. And so cultivating faith in the glories of the holy name, that's the theme of the first 2 verses. And there we will explore in detail what is the concept of Chitta Shuddhi and why it helps in accessing the bhava for the holy name, or how it helps, and the mysteries of the holy name. So that's the theme. So we will be looking at a few verses on how the holy name is the most mysterious, and how we can delve into the mysteries of serving the holy name, because the goal is not just knowing, but to be able to use that knowledge to serve. So, and then we'll look at Shikshashtakam, verse number 3, where Kirtanya Sadahari or Nishtha Nama is mentioned. And the verse 4, we will look at how material attachments, in fact Haridas Thakur mentions that is the worst offense. Even after Apipramada, the maintaining material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on the matter. So he says that is the worst offense. And how to develop surrender. So through the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which he set for all of us. Obviously, like Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. So it is for us, we need Nishtha and everything. So the Lord is doing it as a pastime. And then we will summarize. So first of all, why Nama? And now in Sanatana Dharma, we know that the eventual goal is, when we say Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha or liberation is understood to be the eventual goal. And then within the context of Sanatana Dharma, there are 6 darshanas, and Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa and Vedanta. So Vedanta is the school under which we come in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Vedanta also has different schools in terms of the doctrines or the philosophies. Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita, Shuddha Dvaita, Dvaita Dvaita, and Achintya Bheda Bheda, and so on, many more. So in Achintya Bheda Bheda, the goal is not just mukti, but it's actually bhakti. And bhakti is even, in the general context, it can also be seen as liberating from the material realm, but that's not the only focus. The focus is much, much higher. The focus is on developing a relationship with Krishna, the absolute truth. So that way, in essence, what we can say is, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, the goal is prema. So it is not just getting free, it's actually developing love. So love is considered the highest, and that is why the name Bhakti Yoga also, in a sense, it's the yoga of love. And so why Nama? Well, in this context of developing prema, there are different angas of bhakti or limbs of bhakti that can be practiced. This is spoken by Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnur Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam Vandanam, Dasyam Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So in all of these different forms, Shravanam, Kirtanam are considered the core. Shravanam is listening and Kirtanam is glorifying. And among these also, Kirtanam is considered most important, and especially among the different ways of glorifying, the Nama Sankirtanam is considered the most important, and the pramana for this comes from the Vishnu Duttas in Brihad Bhagavatamrita that Sanatan Goswami quotes. So he mentions that among all the forms of Sankirtana, Nama Sankirtana is the most effective. Not only that, Bhagavatam also mentions that the Hari Kirtanat or Nama Sankirtana is the Yuga Dharma. That is why so many acharyas, both in our line as well as in the other Vaishnava Sampradayas, took great pains to establish the Nama Kirtan. And as Vaisheshika Prabhuji mentions, we should keep the transcendental vibration going. So the Nama Sankirtana is most important. And why Nama Sankirtana is the question. Now, Nama Sankirtana does not require qualifications like many other processes to attain either mukti or prema. Either way, they are all very difficult processes compared to what Nama is. And so there is no requirement of even Diksha to, unlike it is needed for mantra sadhana. So there is a long difference between what a mantra and Nama is. There is some technicality. So mantra has 6 parts to it. The Rishi who is the seer of the mantra, mantra drishta, the chandas in which the mantra is given, the devata of the mantra, the kilaka or the key we can say, and the bija or the, like, when we say mantras, there is om or klim or some bija that is added. So the seed from which the mantra and the mantra devata manifest, and the shakti of the mantra, like we say namaha or swaha, all these are the different shaktis of the mantra. And mantra requires a lot of practice in terms of getting the intonation right, getting the pronunciation right. So like there is also requirements like you have to do the vinyoga, you have to do the nyasa, you have to do the mudras and all of those. And and also you need diksha on top of all of these. So it's actually quite difficult to access the mantra. The mantras are there, but they are difficult to access. Now Nama is special because it actually works like a mantra, yet it's not just a mantra. It is, when we say Maha Mantra, it's actually, if you see, it is composed of the names. I should not say it because it's impersonal, but just for the purpose of explanation. So the Nama is composed of different names, and the Vishnu Duttas mention it is mantravat. It is like a mantra, because the purpose of the mantra is the prayojana. One of that is the mind is also raised to an elevated state. So manastrayate iti mantra, and also there is the prayojana of the mantra, like whatever the purpose is, that is also there. And both of these are achieved by Nama. Yet there is no qualification necessary to chant per se. There is an asterisk there. I'll tell why it is, or maybe some of you can guess. It's a quiz question. So, and there is no requirement in precision of pronunciation, and there is a or time, unlike for mantras. So why precision of pronunciation? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavata mentions, Murkho vadate Vishnaya, Panditah vadate Vishnave, Ubhayor tu samam punyam bhavagrahi janardana. He says that the ones who don't know grammar, they pronounce just like Rama Shabda is there, and then in the Chaturthi Vibhakti it declines as Ramaya. So they think that Vishnu similarly becomes Vishnaya. So Murko vadati Vishnaya, Panditaha vadati Vishnave. The ones who are aware of grammar, they would say Vishnave. But the beauty is Ubhayortu Samam Punyam. Both get the same result. Why? Because Bhava Grahi Janardana. Bhava, Krishna sees the Bhava. And this also has another important implication, which is Bhava is important. Achyuta Bhava Vivarjitam is, Varjitam is Na Shobhate Jnanam. Alam Niranjanam. So the Bhava is important. So this is the second implication of that verse. Pronunciation may not be the heart of it, but Bhava definitely is. So having the right Bhava is important. And we will get to it, what it means and everything. And so there is also no requirement of standards, unlike for deity worship. And so in some sense for deity worship, there is punctuality that's needed, cleanliness that's needed. There is a proper consciousness so that there are no offenses committed. Here also there are some things we will see, but it's not like deity worship. And there is no requirement of different rules like it is needed for yogic practices. You have to, exactly sit like not too high, not too low. You have to focus on the nose, or depending on which yogic practice you adopt. Accordingly, there are certain rules that are needed to have the efficacy of the process in the sadhaka. And yama niyama is this part of Ashtanga Yoga. There are rules before you get to actually the fruit of it, which is the samadhi. And there is also no requirement of certain beginning state like for jnana. So for jnana, for example, there is internal and external renunciation that is required at the outset. So, like abstaining from physical intimacy and so on. All these are conditions that are set at the outset. And only after that the Jnana Yoga path, progresses further. And there is no such stringent requirements for nama. And the nama, it does give the results yet of all the mantras. We'll see there is a quotation from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's also fully invested with Krishna's potency. It's capable of destroying everything inauspicious, and not only that, it gives the highest of benedictions, which is bestowing prema. And it's the Yuga Dharma, and pretty much only feasible thing or accessible in Kali Yuga, most practical as well as most merciful. And it's the most diverse and inclusive path. Why it is most diverse and inclusive? Because Nama can deliver the lowest of the lowest and give them the highest of the highest. So it covers the entire spectrum of all there be. That's why Nama is the only thing that is all there is. So, and so this is just to motivate. There are several other quotations, and I don't want to go into them right now. They are in the additional slides if someone is interested. Next we will go into, there are many namas of Krishna or of God, and there are some primary namas, there are some secondary namas. The primary ones are much more personal and they are much more relatable. And the secondary ones, like calling as Ishvara, or acknowledging their role, but not necessarily cultivating a personal relation with them. There are secondary names as well. All of the names are powerful, but the primary ones are especially powerful as far as bestowing prema is concerned. And some of these quotations of why Hare, Rama and Krishna in the mantra. So the one quotation is Rigvedo hi Yajurveda Samavedo api Atarvanaha Adhitastena yenoktam Harir ityaksharadvayam. So this is from Vishnu Dharmottara, quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilasa. And what it means is, just by saying the two syllables Ha and Ri, Hari, that bestows the equivalent, or that is as if the person has studied all the four Vedas. So this is the potency of just Hari. And also more than this, the Hari also stands for Harati iti Hari. Or what does he exactly take away? He takes away avidya, the most inauspicious reason why the jiva is bound to the material existence. So avidya harana iti Hari. And beautifully, Hare is actually the sambodhana or the vocative case in Sanskrit for both Hari Pratipadika or the stem as well as Hara Pratipadika or the stem. So now Hara is an address to Srimati Radharani. And Hari Mana Harati iti Hara. So it's actually Sri Krishna Mana Harati. So I just kept Hari here because we call address as Hara. It's the same. So one who captures the heart of Hari is Hara. So Madana Mohana Mohini. So that is Hara, Srimati Radharani. And she is the one who manifests as Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti in the heart of the living being when they become the pure devotee. And because of her, Bhakti has Shri Krishna Akarshani as one of its characteristics. So she attracts Krishna. And this is a stage of Prema Bhakti actually. So in Prema, it's Radharani's personal potency that is in the heart of the living being, and because of which Krishna is attracted to that jiva. And Krishna is attracted in a way that he bestows upon the jiva his Kripa Shakti. That's why Kripa Drishti is important. In Damodarashtakam we read Kripa Drishti Vishyati Deenam Batanu. So Kripa Drishti is Krishna's potency of compassion, and which is actually who is actually Radharani. So in that sense, she is the Shakti Tattva, and Kripa Shakti is one of the central Shaktis of Krishna. And so that is bestowed upon the devotee. Of course, it can be bestowed upon the devotee anytime Krishna wills, but usually it happens in Prema. And next is Rama. So this is also a beautiful quotation. Vishnor ekaika namapi sarva vedhadikam matam tadrik nama sahasrena Rama nama samam smritam. This is from Skanda Purana and also quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilasa. So every name of Vishnu is given greater than the Veda, because Lord Vishnu's name, Hari's name, not only gives the knowledge that the Veda gives, but also it opens the doors to the highest prayojana, which is to have a yoga with him, a relation with him. So and this way, the Nama Sahasrena of Vishnu, the 1,000 names of Vishnu, is equivalent to just one name of Rama. So this is just by chanting Rama, right? This is confirmed by Lord Shiva also at the end of Vishnu Sahasranama. Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Shri Rama Nama Varanane. So just the 1,000 names are equivalent just to by chanting the name Rama. So Rama is another central part of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Rama, one general meaning is Ra stands for in a sense you can say Ramanam, or like roaming around, births after births after births. And Ma is just putting a full stop to it. So Rama is actually the one who ends the cycle of birth and death. And Rama, the other specific explanation is Radhikam Ramayan. So one who enjoys Srimati Radharani, or one who enjoys in the company of Srimati Radharani. And so that is Rama. And of course, we can, depending on the mood of the devotee, Rama can also mean Sri Ramachandra, or it can also mean Balarama, and other is Krishna himself. So, and the word Krishna, Krish, is related to Akarsha, Akarshaiti. So it is attraction, and Na is related to Ananda, it is bliss. And that way Krishna is the form that is all attractive and blissful. So one who attracts us, but not like Maya. Maya also does attract, but Maya is not giving bliss. Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. The so-called satisfaction or peace or happiness, whatever you want to call, that comes from Maya, Mahamaya, is comes with an expiry date. Adya antavanta kaunteya. There is a beginning and then there is an expiry. And therefore, nateshu ramate buddha. The ones who are intelligent, they don't fall for it. So that is the nature of Maya. But Krishna's all blissful nature is, it is addictive as well, but it's supremely blissful. And it is not entangling like, just like any material thing. It's not entangling, unlike any material thing. And the beautiful verse that is also mentioned about the speciality of the name Krishna. Sahasra namnam punyanam triravritya tu yat phalam ekavritya tu krishnasya namaikam tat prayachyati. Brahmanda Purana, and this is spoken by Ananta Shesha to Mother Earth. And so it says that the punya, or the result of 3 times repeating the 1000 names of Vishnu, the result of that is given by just once taking the name of Krishna. So just by taking the name once, that's how potent it is. Of course, the names of the Lord are all powerful, but there is also a speciality among them. And Krishna's name is special, and the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra has the goal as Radha and Krishna's service to them. So that way it is very special. So the first stands for Hara, Radharani, and then the names of Krishna or his expansions, the Rama and Krishna. Now that we know that the Maha Mantra is very special, so Nama is special in Bhakti, and this particular Namas or this Maha Mantra is very special. And this exact mantra is also given in Kali Santarana Upanishad. And in fact, the Upanishad is quite emphatic. It says that iti shodashakam namnam kali kalmashanashanam nasti parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. So it says that, so first it gives the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There is another version depending on which recension we pick. So that starts with Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And some say that that version was there in the Vedic mantra, and it's a Vedic mantra, so it cannot be chanted by anybody and everybody. So they say that therefore, just like Narad Muni had changed the procedure to make Valmiki chant. Like instead of he couldn't chant Rama, so Narad Muni made him chant Rama 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 repetition. Like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is said that he made him he made us for us to be able to access the Nama. So he reversed it so that it no longer remains Vedic mantra, yet it gives result of the Maha Mantra. So that's the beauty of Krishna, or like when his representatives come, they do amazing things that keep the principles intact but apply them and make bhakti accessible to one and all. And that's why bhakti is, they are the ones who are the special force that make the bhakti most inclusive and accessible to even the lowest of the lowest. So now we will look into Sri Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. I think we are going quite slow. But so the first verse is Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreyak Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So the verse is just broken down into phrases so that it's easy to understand what is being conveyed. So first thing that we'll spend quite some time is on Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So this Chetas or Chitta is compared to a mirror. We'll see why it is in some time, that there is a very mystical part to it. And the holy name cleanses that Chitta to begin with. So there is Chitta Shuddhi that takes place. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. And then there is the one of the qualities of bhakti, this is Kleshagni. So Uttama Bhakti, it removes the inauspicious forest fire like material existence. So though the circumstances, everything might be same for the devotee after they become pure devotee or before, but it's actually very different. Just like Arjuna, before hearing before hearing Bhagavad Gita, he was a Kshatriya, and after hearing also he was a Kshatriya. But it's totally different as well. And so similarly, bhakti acts in such a way that it makes one transcend material existence, yet to externally it may appear exactly like any other human, any other person. So there is a lot of mysticism to it. And so Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So this is a comparison is very significant. So the holy name is compared both to the sun and to the moon, depending on which acharya or which context we are looking at. So the sun is purifying. The sun, if there is anything like under sunlight, it just purifies it, any dirt, everything, and it also illuminates. So this is the nature of the sun. So the lot of prayers dedicated to sun, and so the sun is sustaining the life in a sense. It is Surya Narayan, or is Krishna's potency, and or he is Krishna's potency, and the sun both shows us as well as purifies us. So there are two things happening. One is the nature is getting illuminated so that we can see, and the other is also getting purified because of the sun. Now moon on the other hand, but there is also one thing in purification. Sun is also burning. The sun burns. So when we stand in the sun, we actually can't stand him or it for a long time. And whereas moon is not like that. Moon, what it does is, moon takes the light and heat from the sun, but it doesn't give the heat. It just gives the light. So moon is illuminating. So moon is very special. So whenever the Lord appears, we call him Krishna Chandra, Rama Chandra. So the comparison is to the moon. And at the same time, the purifying potency is attributed to the sun. So Shreyak Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. So the holy name, what he does is distributes the moonlight. So the purification happens, but it doesn't. It's not like burning. It's very pleasing. Yeah. And what it does is, Shreya Kairava is actually the white lotus. So I haven't written it down, so that's a typo from my side. And it distributes the moonlight that blossoms the white lotus of good fortune. Shreya Kairava. Shreya is good fortune, Kairava is white lotus. So the white lotus of good fortune is awakened by this moonlight. And this lotus, this flower analogy comes a lot of time. It's like the bhava is awakening of the devotee. And this creates auspiciousness, which is one of the characteristics of Uttama Bhakti, Shubhada. And Vidya Vadu Jivanam. It is also the life of all Vidya. So which means with the Nama, the everything else also comes alongside. That's why it is mentioned that, so Nama, when someone is chanting, they are understood, this from Bhagavatam, they are understood to have performed all the charities, sacrifices, tapasya, everything in their past lives, Vedic study, everything. And then they come to the stage of chanting the Nama. This is a natural progression, but that doesn't restrict that these are the only beings who can take the Nama. Nama is available for everyone. And so it is Vidya Vadu Jivanam. So the bride of Vidya comes into the life of whoever takes Nama automatically. And so just like this is mentioned, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. So Vairagyam and Jnana, both of them, they come when there is bhakti, there is yoga with bhakti, or there is connection with the bhakti potency of Krishna. And now next is Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam. So Vardhanam is increasing. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam is the bliss is increasing. And increasing means something has to happen. There's a process. Pratipadam, at every step it is increasing. Every step when we chant more and more, this is naturally what should follow. Purnamrita Swadanam. So it bestows the taste of complete nectar of Bhakti Rasa. Sarvatma Snapanam. So it bathes the Atma in the ever increasing ocean of nectar. It bathes the Atma in Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. And then Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the holy name or Shri Krishna Sankirtana. So this is what the holy name does. At the outside it just looks like so simple. Just you chant Hari, Rama and Krishna. That is the innocent faith that is needed. At the same time, one should not take it for granted, because it's actually the most potent of all medicines that's available at any time, in any yuga, but all the more for Kali Yuga. And now we look at what this Cheto Darpana is. This is the mystical mirror. And this has something to do with Sankhya. And also, there is a reason why this is being mentioned here, because it's related to Bhava. The Bhava, from where the Bhava arises. I know the font is too small. I don't know if there can be something. I know you can't see the ones downward, but let me. You can see? Okay. So, first, to understand what Cheto Darpana Marjana is, we have to understand what Chitta is. Chitta is a very, very central term, not only in Sankhya or Yoga, but also in Vedanta. In Bhagavatam also there is a mention of what this Chitta is. So what happens is, Brahma Samhita and Bhagavatam both have pramanas for what I am going to say. So the Lord, Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, he glances upon Prakriti, which is perfectly in equilibrium. So it is like a clear water in a clear vessel. Actually, we don't even see that she exists. But because when the Lord glances, so that glance is quite mystical. So Krishna does not interact with the material energy directly. So his representative, the glance, is called Shambhu. So the Shambhu is also the Kala Purusha. So he is the one who interacts with Prakriti. And in this process, what happens is Prakriti gets impregnated with what is called as Sattva. So this there is a lot of technical things here. So where does this Sattvam Chayasya Vinirbhinnam Mahan Dishnyam Upavishat Chittenam Shena Dinaso Vijnanam Pratipadyate, Bhagavatam says. So the Prakriti or Pradhana is impregnated by this Sattvam, and what comes out is called Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is the representation of, in a sense, it is like the first where the embodiment of the jiva happens, and it's like the intersection between the material and the spiritual realm, and it's described as clear water in its natural state. Now this Mahat Tattva is so this Mahat Tattva is represented by Chitta in the living entity. So Chitta is represented by Mahat Tattva. That's why we introduced Mahat Tattva. And now this Chitta is compared to a mirror, and Mahat Tattva is compared to clear water in its natural state. Now what happens is, this is from Patanjali, this point. When the sattva is prominent, when sattva guna is prominent, the water appears shiny, like a crystal or like a money, and it acts like a mirror. So the Atma is there, and then there is the Chitta, and that is engulfing in a sense. And this Chitta is like a Golakam, Chittaspadam Golakam it is mentioned, and acts like a mirror. So that in the most pure state, yoga calls it Sampragnata Samadhi, or in the Gaudiya Vaishnava parlance, Shuddha Chitte Karayo Udhai. When the Chitta is completely in the Sattva Guna, Krishna Prema manifests from there. And of course the Lord manifests there. So Chitta becomes a very central point. And this Chitta is the one in which the consciousness is reflected, and the Atma can perceive itself, as well as the background, which is Krishna, who is present with the Atma as Paramatma. So this is explained beautifully in Bhagavatam. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punyashravana kirtana hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti surutsatam ashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So first it starts from Shrinvatam, by listening. What happens by listening is, Krishna enters through the ears and he purifies the heart. And when that purification happens, Esham Tvantagatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmanam Te Dvandva Moha Nirmukto Bhajante Mam Dridhavrata. So they can become fixed in bhakti. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Nishtha Bhakti happens. So now, once the Atma is fixed in bhakti, then there is something beautiful that happens. Tada rajastamo bhava kamalobha dhayaschaye chetaye tairana viddam Stitam Sattve Prasidati. So then what happens is, the rajas and tamas of material hankerings, they reduce. So this is a way one can measure how much spiritual progress they are making. The rajas and tamas that agitate and cause hankering in the chitta or the consciousness, they are down. And then the chitta attains a more stable state. Like water is not flowing. When it is flowing, it is, there is rajas shakti there. And in that the reflection is not clearly visible. And when water is completely colored, and then also it's not like clearly reflecting. So when it is colored by either rajas or tamas, the water does not really reflect or act like a mirror. But when it becomes in the mode of sattva, then that is the position where the chitta vrittis are stabilized. This is what Patanjali calls as the definition of yoga. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So this is the second yoga sutra. And the chitta, the vrittis or the waves of the chitta, they get stabilized. So water becomes like a non-moving, stable water. And because of the quality of sattva is illuminating. So when light falls on that surface of the water, it appears illuminating and it becomes like a mirror. So the light is reflected back, and in that state, the Atma can perceive itself and the Lord. So this is why Chitta becomes a very, very central point. And Chitta is when the Shuddha Chitta happens, when the Chitta Shuddhi happens, sorry. When the Chitta Shuddhi happens, then the Cheta Etair Anaviddham Siddham Sattve Prasidhati. Anaviddham is not disturbed. So not disturbed by Rajas and Tamas. The Cheta is not disturbed, and then Sthitam Sattve Prasidhati. Then the satisfaction of being in Sattva comes. Sometimes, we think that, okay, we have come to Bhakti, so we have already transcended the material world. We have nothing to do with the modes. But actually the modes are very, very subtle. In fact, you will see that in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Gopakumar goes to the final layer of the material existence, which is Pradhana. So there, Maya Devi is present personally, and her worshipable deity is Mohini Murti. So she says that many people think that, okay, you just, worship the Lord and you will go back. But you need my permission to get out of this place. So she says, and then she, in the commentary it is noted that she is actually the shadow potency of Krishna's sister, Subhadra. So in Bhakti, we need the blessings of everyone so that we can go closer to Krishna faster and serve him and be situated in that position. Therefore, it's important not to take any living being for granted, let alone the devatas. And so this when this chitta becomes in sattva, or when the shuddhi happens, then what happens? Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Thank you very much. So this one, then the prasannata of the manas happens. Actually, this is compared to the Hladini Shakti entering into the chitta. So it happens at the stage of bhava, and then the prasannata comes. The mind becomes enlivened in bliss. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhakti yogata. How it happens? By yoga with the bhakti potency of Bhagavan. So by bhava bhakti, when the chitta is in yoga with that bhava bhakti, the this prasanna manasa, or the descending of the Hladini Shakti happens. And Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam is the consequence. So first Hladini comes and then Samvit comes. So Samvit is the other Shakti of Krishna, which is representing the Chit potency, so which gives knowledge. So the knowledge is coming after the Hladini Shakti enters, then the Samvit Shakti comes. And that way what happens? Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam. That's when actually really the realization of what Bhagavat Tattva comes. Until then it's the material mind, material intelligence trying to figure things out. Like I'm trying to compile things. But this all, if it is happening not with the Shuddha Chitta, then it is pretty much like the material mind is trying to do some jugglery. But still, if that effort is sincere, Krishna reciprocates. That's the beauty. But then the organic progression is when the chitta is shuddhi happens, then Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam happens, and Mukta Sangasya Jayate. And so that is the Prasanna Manasa is actually in a liberated state, Mukta Sangasya. And so this is how bhava enters. When Hladini and Samvit are entering, that means the bhava is actually descending into the chitta of the devotee. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai Shavanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udaye. So actually, because the Bhakti Bija is there, so when we say descend, it's actually from the Bija the bud is coming, and the bud blossoms into a flower. So flower is compared to bhava, the fruit is compared to prema. So the prema is the one that arises from this state, when Shuddha Chitta and Bhava Bhakti, and then from Bhava comes prema. So this is the progression that happens. And the quotations that are very, very tiny at the end is actually showing that the Bhava is manifesting in Chitta, and this is coming from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So and that is why it is manifesting in the chitta when it is in a sattva state. That is why it is called Sattvika Bhavas. So Bhavas have different terminology to it. There are Vibhava, Anubhava, sthai bhava, satvika bhava, sanchari, vyabhachari bhava. So all these different bhavas are there. And satvika bhava are called so because they arise from sattva state of chitta. So, and when the Shaktis of the Lord are descending, that is when Sattva is becoming Shuddha Sattva. That's what happening there. And Sattva is also, in a sense, there is a material component to it. Usually there is a mix of Rajas or Tamas, and there is prominent Sattva even when it is described as Sattva. Shuddha Sattva, or the spiritual, Vishuddha Sattva, the spiritual, is when the Shaktis of the Lord descend, or like from the Bhakti Lata Bij. Descend is the right word, because the Jiva is at a stage, and then the Jiva is getting an upgrade, in a sense, upgrade to the stage of Bhava. And now this is there is some more complexity to what chitta is, pure and polluted chitta. Prabhupada describes this as pure and polluted water. When water is clear, it's referring to the Shuddha chitta. When it is polluted, it is the chitta that requires Shuddhi. And now chitta is a very mystical thing. So in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Atma is described as just a witness as far as the material world is concerned. The Atma has the agency of doership, everything, but that's in the spiritual realm. But when the Atma becomes like a bija in the material realm, the Atma is described as just a witness. And the Atma is pretty much powering the entire system. Dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho bijayate. So the dhyayana shakti, or the consciousness of the Atma, that is what is permeating. But rest everything, there is almost like a bija. There is no Swarupa that is manifest in the material sphere. For the Nitya Baddhas, Nitya Siddhas are different. So for Nitya Baddhas, it is like this. And now what happens is, when the chitta is also in Sattva Guna, it is like a crystal that assumes any thing that is shown to it. So just like a crystal apparently assumes the color of the things around. So I've never tried, maybe some of you might have tried. So similarly, the chitta actually assumes whatever is shown to it. So the first thing that is shown to it is actually Atma, because the Atma is the one that is most approximate to chitta. Because of this, the chitta assumes the and thinks of itself like the Atma. So the doership, chitta thinks that or considers that it is the Atma. And from this is the bija of ahankara, because there is a misidentification here that's happening. But the Atma is actually not playing any role per se. It's the chitta that is doing this. And so the chitta appears conscious. And the example that is given is just like if you have an idea of how the film projector works. So there is a reel on which there are images, and then it's projected onto a screen. So similarly, these images are the samskaras, and depending on repeated samskaras, that image gets more strongly, otherwise it's very faint. And this is projected onto the screen, and it appears very lively, like a lot of things are happening, but actually it's inanimate. The reel is inanimate, the screen is inanimate, and the picture that is happening is just because the chitta is moving around, and it appears like they're all animate, but it's all material in a sense, except for the consciousness of the soul that is powering it, the light that is going. And so chitta assumes the doership that way. So the agency agency of being the doer comes at the level of chitta, which from which the ahankara develops. So now ahankara further evolves into different elements Sankhya mentions. And that's why when Krishna says karya karana kartritve hetur prakriti ruchyate purusha sukha dukhanam bhoktritve hetur ruchyate, like the karya karana and kartritva, doership, everything is with prakriti. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So it is the ahankara that is making the chitta think that it is actually something else. And it is the soul, it is acting as if the soul, and it is the doer. So that is where all this misidentification is happening, and that's how the ahankara is the false identity that is assumed by chitta. And Bhagavatam says, at the level of the antakarana, the chitta, manas, ahankara and buddhi, the classification is purely functional. So it is not like there are different limbs and then there are shapes accordingly. So at that level, it's just purely based on functionality. That's why you'll see different acharyas they explain differently. When I say acharyas here, I am referring broadly to the whole Vedantic tradition or the Vedic tradition. And Krishna says, I accept all of them as true, because they are situated in my internal potency and they are explaining it in different ways. So when Patanjali, for example, when he's saying chitta has 5 things: pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra and smriti. So all these are also functional. So at that level, there is no rigidity like the gross matter. It's very subtle and it's very functional classification. And from the ahankara comes the buddhi in rajas, and then in the sattva the manas comes, and then from the ahankara in tamas the tanmatras, the senses of smell, sight, all of those shabda, rupa, spasha, rasa, gandha, and then the panchabhutas, these 5 elements comes. Now why we are going into so much depth here? So these 5 elements from akasha comes the akasha comes from the shabda tanmatra, that is the material sound. So now when we chant, there is also sound coming. Now is that a material sound or spiritual sound? So externally we are it appears like there is all syllables, there is sound. So is it part of shabda tanmatra? So the understanding is that it's exactly like the deity. So the deity form of Krishna, is the deity material or spiritual? So the deity is spiritual, manifesting for us, so that we can see only the material things with these eyes. So the deity mercifully manifests Krishna's spiritual potency in different forms that are accessible to us. So that way is the holy name as well. The holy name also manifests like that, so that the living entities can access. But actually the holy name is not material. So the holy name is non-different from Krishna, and externally appears like normal sound, but it's actually transcendental. And Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. The holy name is like a Chintamani, fulfills all desires, and actually non-different, Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. I'll go a little fast because I know we are running out of time. And so that way there is no difference between Krishna and the holy name. Now what happens is, when we are sincerely trying to utter a particular sound pattern, sound vibration, our intention inside is actually we are trying to chant the holy name, or at least we are trying to chant the names of Krishna knowingly or unknowingly. Now what happens is, when a sincere feeling is involved in this, Krishna descends out of his free will to help the devotee. This is, of course, when there is prema that is manifesting, Krishna is attracted and he comes, but he is descending according to the bhava of the devotee here. Pravishta karna randhrena swanam bhava saroruham dhunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yatha sharat. So here the bhava saroruham is the focus, the bhava which is appearing in the chitta. So Krishna is appearing through the ears, and he goes into the chitta of the living being, which is from according to the bhava that is being felt. So bhava or rati can sometimes come on and off also. So it is a stage, it's a permanent stage also, but at the initial stages Krishna can also give glimpses of it. And when that happens, sometimes the devotee feels, oh, this is something like so special. So Krishna gives those memories to keep the devotee enthusiastic in the journey forward. And when Krishna appears like that in the chitta, just like the sun appears and all the darkness is dispelled, similarly, Dunoti Shamalam Krishna Salilasya Yathasharat. Here the analogy is that of gentle rains. Autumnal rains are not very strong like the rainy season. So rainy season rains are too strong and they just end up taking the mud out, so the water becomes muddy. But the same water, muddy water, the chitta, is when the autumnal rains fall, they are very gentle and they have a cleansing effect. So they cleanse the muddy waters. So that is the comparison. That's how Krishna just cleanses as soon as he appears in the heart. Now Krishna is present as the Paramatma always. But this special potency of Krishna is shown when the devotee is sincere and having the bhava saroruham. That is usually when it is shown, but Krishna has is independent free will, so sometimes exceptions for a good reason occur. And now bhava also arises in those who are surrendered to the Guru. They performed bhakti activities and destroyed the offenses. And bhava can also occur in those who had experiences of pure bhakti in previous or present lives. Pure bhakti is anya abhilashita shonyam jnana karmadhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttamam. When one has the uttama bhakti experience in either previous life or this life, the bhava can appear there also. So these are some descriptions Rupa Goswami gives. And when the holy name is chanted properly, then the Lord cleans away or dispels the darkness just like the sun, or just like a powerful wind drives the cloud. These analogies are very important. I think we only have 5 minutes, so quickly I will skim through. So, two analogies. One is the sun dispelling the darkness, other is wind dispelling the clouds. Now, the clouds are also in a sense due to the sun, because it's the sun's potency that is in a sense creating the clouds. So the clouds actually are not covering the sun. Sun is so huge that clouds have almost like no bearing standing in front of the sun. But because we are obstructed from the sun by the cloud, therefore the cloud becomes important. And but the cloud is also dispelled by the wind of the holy name. So this clouds or darkness is avidya, and the clouds are the is it anarthas? So either anarthas or aparadhas, that's how they are compared to. And the wind dispels them. So by repeatedly chanting the holy name, the offenses are also, that's the remedy even for offensive chanting. And the conditioned living entity who takes up the chanting of the nama with faith and purity is called a Vaishnava. Now this is very important. When we say, once the holy name of Krishna is spoken, and therefore that person is a Vaishnava, Mahaprabhu says that one holy name is the pure holy name. So Shuddha Nama. And the conditioned living entity, just like the sun is present, but when one is making them accessible to the sun, and in this sense it's with faith and purity accessible to the holy name, such a person is called Vaishnava. And the person who takes up chanting of the name in the mode called Namabhas is called Vaishnava Praya, or about to become Vaishnava or semi-Vaishnava. So, but by the mercy of Krishna, if they continue in the Namabhasa, they will attain the Prema or Shuddha Nama. And the scriptures declare that if one chants the name of Krishna only once, or hears the name of Krishna only once, whether that be pure or impure, it is sufficient to deliver the person from the ocean of material existence. This is true, and how it acts is explained further. That name will purify the person of all his sinful activities, but one must here note that if the name is chanted in Namabhas, the ultimate benefit will come slowly. Just like Ajamila's case, he chanted, there are different stages of Namabhas, and one of them is Sanketa. And so Sanketa is, you are indicating a different object or a vastu in place of who is indicated by the name. In place of the Lord, he put his son. So that is what happened in case of Ajamila. And when that happened, the effect came, ultimate benefit came slowly. Of course, when he was going about to be taken to hell, the Vishnu Dutas interfered. But after that, he had to continue his chanting perfect, and then is when he went back to Godhead. So the ultimate benefit comes slowly in Namabhas chanting, and which is Prema, that's the ultimate benefit. However, in case of extreme impurity or great distance from the pure name, progress to Prema is completely blocked. This is like a thick cloud that is sitting right in our vision, and therefore the sun rays we can't even access the sun rays. Or it's like sitting in a cave. That is another example that's given. So this state of chanting is called aparadhanama, or offensive chanting. And so one of the points that is discussed is Shivasya Sri Vishnor ya guna namadi sakalam diya bhinnam pashyet sa khalu harinama hitakara. So one of the, we know one of the meanings that is regularly recited, to see the devatas as independent or equal is an offense. The other explanation that is given is, of course, there are two different recensions of Padma Purana. One has the word Shivasya, other has the Shubhasya. But Shiva also can mean auspiciousness, and Shubha also means auspiciousness. This is the other interpretation that's given in Bhajan Rahasya. And when one sees the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord as different, so when one is not able to see that the name is corresponding to the form, that is an offense. So this is the other explanation for that. And therefore the chanting doesn't personalize. It remains impersonal because there is no personal connection that is seen. And that's what morning we were discussing, that when that happens, the remedy is deity worship or having a prayerful attitude. And then there is discussion of namabhas. Maybe if someone is interested, they can discuss later. But basically, there are different types of namabhas. One is with Shraddha involved, other is without Shraddha. Without Shraddha was the Jamila's case. And there is how one can chant either like by making a mockery or joke. That is parihasa. Sanketa is having some other object in the heart instead of the Lord. Stoba is it is with like Shishupala, how he made fun. And Helena is with disrespectful and offensive to the holy name. So all these are different stages of namabhas with without Shraddha, and with Shraddha there are different stages also. And but all of these have the remedies as continuing the chanting and service to a genuine guru, and developing Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana is who are we, who is Krishna, what is our relationship with him. When we say Krishna, it is including his potencies, because Krishna is never found alone. He is always found with his Shaktis, one way or the other. And the other one is Pramadha, or the inattention. This is considered the root of all offenses. And it manifests, as Prabhuji mentioned in the morning, that Audasinya, indifference, Jadya, laziness, or restlessness, or fickle-mindedness. And for each of those, different remedies are given. And all of them have the common remedies. Take association. So association of those who are helpful in remedying that particular form of inattention. So those who are not indifferent, those who are not lazy, those who are not restless when it comes to chanting. And of course, when one is advanced, then they are chanting with complete attention. But there's other key point is, with complete attention, one can get till Namabhas, but Bhava has to be there to get to Shuddha Nama. And when one continues Namabhas, eventually the Bhava will manifest. That's why chanting is the solution, chanting is the remedy. Even if someone is not chanting well, chanting is the remedy. Just don't leave chanting. That's the most important thing. That's why even God is descending from the spiritual world, leaving all his happy pastimes to the material world to come and deliver. So Nama is extremely important. Even if you can't chant like your fixed number of rounds, at least chant something. This is the instruction I got when I first came to Krishna consciousness. And the last one is, other than the inattention, the attachment to the me and mine. This is considered by Haridas Thakur as the worst offense. And this is remedied by those serving those who are renounced materially and surrendered to the holy name. So the mode of whom we associate rubs on us. So when we associate with those who are sincere in taking shelter of the names, then that rubs on us, and then we also try to become more sincere. But continuing chanting is important. Anyway, there are like a few more verses. I don't think we have time. So I will just stop here. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and please excuse me if I spoke something wrong, because anyway I don't have realization, so I can't say if I spoke anything beyond my realization. But thank you for patiently listening. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Any questions should we take or no?
Actually, it's already 9:35. Sorry about that.
No.
But I really want to appreciate, Prabhu, you took us to a journey into the science of chanting the holy name so nicely. I was listening since the beginning of your class. Very grateful to you for all the research that you did and so detailed slides that you have prepared to share with us. And it shows how much you take this chanting seriously. And thank you for inspiring us by sharing your realizations and also your research, because we need that. We need to understand, the deeper reasons why we are chanting. So thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. All glories to the teachers that we have in the form of the acharyas and gurus, and especially Chaitanyananda Maharaj, who has especially created a holy name revolution within ISKCON that is ongoing. So, and his book is also one of the main reasons I got inspired. Namarasya. So the title is also similar, right? Mysteries of the Holy Name. Namarasya is the secrets of the Holy Name.
Yeah, we want the part 2 of this class. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
So we'd like to just go directly into the next part of the program, which is the youth presentation on the practical wisdom from Bhagavatam. So today's speakers, Dhriti and Siddhi. And without further delay, I'll let you take over.
Hare Krishna, my name is Dhriti.
Hare Krishna, my name is Siddhi.
And today we're going to be presenting chapter 14, How to Live and How to Leave. Life is a preparation and death is an examination. This is a fairly common saying in spiritual circles. A person's consciousness when they leave the body is what determines what their next destination is. Therefore, living a pious life with great values is very important in leaving this body and going to the spiritual world. However, also leaving behind a legacy and becoming a good role model for others to follow is also very important. This presentation will be centered around these two questions: how to live and how to leave. The Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us the answers to these questions. It starts off with Maharaj Parikshit, the ruler of the Kuru dynasty, getting cursed by a Brahmin's son after putting a snake around the Brahmin's neck. Instead of Maharaj Parikshit humbly accepts his fault and sees this curse in the disguise as a blessing. He decides to sit at the banks of Ganga and fast until death. There he sees the great sages and asks them two questions. What is the duty of a person in all circumstances? And what is the duty of a person about to die? At that time, Sukadev Goswami comes to the scene and answers these two questions. And that is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, which acts as a transcendental torchlight in the age of Kali. Sukadev Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj that one should always hear about, chant, and remember Lord Krishna at all times. Devotional service is very important for every living being. Gathering knowledge by studying scriptures is very important for spiritual growth. The scriptures emphasize the importance of having great virtues, good values, and living in God consciousness. In Bhagavatam 4:22-24, it says, a person must be non-violent, must follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, must always remember Lord Vishnu, must follow the regulative principles without any material desire, and most importantly, should never blaspheme others. A devotee must lead a simple life and learn to tolerate and ignore the opposing impurities.
Living with responsibility is important, but it shouldn't lead to undue attachment. But then again, detachment should also not mean irresponsibility. One should learn how to balance these two. In the Bhagavatam, there are many stories of saintly kings called Rajarshis who teach us how to do this. They ruled their kingdom religiously and compassionately. In spite of their wealth and power, when the time came, they maturely handed off all their wealth and great influence to their successors. They detached themselves of all material desire and dedicated the rest of their lives to worshipping Lord Vishnu. One example of these kings is King Yudhishthir. Under the guidance of Lord Krishna, he ruled the Kuru dynasty very nicely, and when the time came, he gave it to his grandson, Maharaj Parikshit, after training him well. These kings teach us the importance of leaving behind material and attachments at the right time. Now Siddhi will be continuing with this presentation. As most people know, that death is inevitable. How a person leaves this world decides how a person lives in this world decides how they leave. It's just like how what the score a student gets on their test depends on their study habits. When one is dying, their ability to remember things is slackened, but with the grace of the Supreme Lord and a Guru, a sincere devotee can remember Krishna during the time of their death. An acharya, or a spiritual master, gives a suitable method for devotees to reach the spiritual destination by the grace of the Lord. His duty is to ensure that devotees render service to the Lord and as a result go back to Godhead. This method involves accepting the boat of the Lord's lotus feet. This method is called Acharya Sampradaya. Sometimes a person is not recognized for their achievements or inventions until after they pass on. We are impressed by determination, devotion, dedication, honest gratitude towards well-wishers, and genuine regret for their mistakes, especially when they're seen in a child. Dhruva Maharaj set out to worship the Lord with an ambitious desire to attain a position higher than his father. Within 6 months, he achieved the audience of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu rewarded him greatly, and Dhruva Maharaj regretted worshiping the Lord with a material desire. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions, comments, reflections, realizations?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Siddhi and Thriti. I remember both of you as little toddler babies and just few-year-old, 5-6-year-old coming for book distribution and telling the stories from Bhagavatam of Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. And now you are here discussing such advanced topics, how one should live a life and how one should actually die and live. And this is a very important topic, and it's very, very heart-melting to see how you nicely taking up to these difficult topics and presenting it with so much ease. And nice teamwork. Thank you so much. And I really miss you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I loved this presentation, and it was the perfect sort of cherry on top to our lecture this morning, especially talking about what the glories of the Holy Name, how this is sort of like what the purpose is behind it, what this gets us to, why Krishna gave us the Maha Mantra, and then to have this of how to live and how to die. It just, I feel like I just got the lesson to life today. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any questions for them? You have questions?
Hare Krishna, I don't have a question, but I really like the title, How to Live and How to Live. It's so nice. I mean, it's so connected. So how Krishna consciousness is comprehensive. It's in the life and after the life and beyond. So I really like that slide on responsibly detaching oneself. Detachment does not mean irresponsibility. That was really nice. And the example of Pandavas giving it to Parikshit before they leave. So that was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much. Triti and Siddhi have worked very hard, and very grateful to you for all your effort, for presenting in such a beautiful format. I love the pictures and the slides, the way, the flow it came out. And this is, of course, the credit for all the, this lesson and the topic goes to Gaurang Darshan Prabhu's book, Bhagavad Viveka. That's our curriculum book. So thank you for so nicely taking out lessons and presenting it. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Now we'd like to move on to the next part of the program, which is Guru Puja. So kindly request you to stand up and help us move the mats and prepare the room. Thank you.
Namasreshtam manamapi sachiputram atra swarupam Shrirupam tasya gajamurupurim madhurim goshtavatim Radha kundam girivaram aho radhika madhavasam Prapto yasya pratita kripaya Shri Gurum tam nantavasmi He Guru Jnanadadina Bandho Swananda Data Karunaika Sindho Vrindavanasi Nahitavatara Prasidha Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dina Bandho Karunaika Sindho Guru Prasadam Mai Mandamudhe Lakshaparade Bahupapagade Tatpad Padme Stumatischa Krishne Naivopayanti apachitam kavayastavesha Brahmayusha prikritam riddha muda smaranta Yuvantar bahistanu asubham vidunvam Acharya chaita vapusha swagatim vyanki I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds and thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in your spiritual science could not fully express their in-depthness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attend pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
Shri Guru Charana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Privrajacharya Stotra Sat. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Hare Hare Bol.
शरीरा विद्याजा जोडेंद्रिया ताहे का जीवे फेले विषय सागोरे तारामते जीवायती लोभमय सुधर्मती ताके जेता कठिन संसारे कृष्णा बोडो दोयामो कोरी बा जीव जाय स्वप्रसाद नदी लोभाय से अनामृत पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेम गाओ श्री चैतन्य गीता प्रेम गाओ श्री चैतन्य गीता महाप्रसाद गोविंदे नमः ज्ञाने वैष्णवे Mahaprasad ki jai. Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna.